Once again, it's Kennard, Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. Talking Auburn football, go ahead and like the video. Smash that subscribe button. Always great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. Down in the Deep South where college football is king, and on the plains of Auburn, the battle cry is War Eagle. All right, so here's what we want to talk about tonight. We're not going to get into a lot of X's and O's. Got this car cast going on as one of my signatures of my particular channel. Probably want to get back into some live streams. I really miss looking at some of you all's comments in the live streams and some of the occasional super chats. As a matter of fact, if you want to make a donation to the channel, you can go to $ Kennard Stewart at Cash App. But I mean, it is what it is if you want to make a donation. I actually really enjoy doing this, so and YouTube does its thing on a financial standpoint. So, but either way, let's talk about the real deal at Auburn. A lot of us, kind of want to dance around this. Auburn has some facilities challenges, in comparison to the teams that they really want to compete against that spend a lot of money on recruiting. Auburn in 2020 spent about $970,000 in recruiting. Now, this is a team that says, or at least the fan base say that they want to compete on a high level year in and year out. But you got this team, Auburn, spending $970,000, and that's rounding it up about $4,000. That's the thing. If Auburn is going to be competitive, they're going to have to really invest in the current times as far as recruiting goes. I mean, you talk about competing with some of the more elite competition, even Penn State, who Auburn has to play a second or third week of the season. These guys spend upwards in the millions of dollars in recruiting every year. Now, that shows a priority, and most teams have acknowledged the fact that, hell, you can have the best coaches in the world. But if you're not recruiting at a high level some of the better talent in the country, then, you might be okay. You might get the ball to bounce your way a couple of times, like in 2010 for Auburn, in 2013 when Auburn, I just don't think were, more of the elite talent in the country. There are probably some teams that on a different day would have beaten Auburn, but the ball bounced their way. But after a certain point, the sustainability kicks in. And when I talk about sustainability, I'm talking about winning games, straight up, hard-nosed football over a long period of time. And there's some programs that have really done a good job of this. And I'll even bring Georgia up. They missed out on the opportunity to win a national championship game, albeit they probably should have even been there in 2017. I don't think Georgia was the best team in the SEC even that year. I think Alabama was. Did Alabama deserve to be in the national championship? Hell no. You don't make your division. You don't win your division. You lost to not only your bitter rival, you lost on the road. You lost by double digits. You get to sit at the house for a couple of weeks while Auburn and Georgia battling it out in the SEC championship game. And then Georgia smacks you pretty much all over the field. You get a nice play to Devontae Smith in overtime, and you win a national championship. Now, a lot of Alabama fans don't realize that outside of the pandemic national championship, the 2017 national championship, which Alabama should not have been there anyway, was the last national championship prior to that Alabama had won. We definitely have to look at the 44-16 loss to Clemson. But either way, as we look at this compared to years prior, I think Bryan Harsin would have been walking into a great situation. Some decent talent recruiting-wise, a favorable schedule at the top end, albeit Penn State. But when you really look at where the Auburn program wants to go, and mind you, they're accustomed to new coaches coming in and getting it done pretty quick. Gene Chizik comes in 2009, wins a national championship in 2010. Gus Malzahn, probably wasn't the most favorable hire, comes in year one, goes to the national championship. Now, True GA Champion, one of the subscribers of my channel, which I'm thoroughly entertained by his commentary, he said, instead of, at that time, bashing Gus Malzahn for not winning the national championship, the Auburn fan base should have been celebratory, but you just can't. Even though that is on the table. But when you have Alabama up the road that's winning, just like you want to have it, and there's no litigation that will say otherwise. I think so. I love that season. I wasn't necessarily bitter that Auburn lost to Florida State because, to truth be told, they probably didn't have any business being there anyway. When you look at the kick six, you look at the ways that they won in the prayer at Jordan-Hare. Not sustainable wins, probably not wins that the typical national championship team would have embarked upon. Nevertheless, they still made it there. They were still up 21-3. They still surrendered the lead. That's the thing about Auburn fans. They really don't expect to be there, but goddamn it, don't get there and don't win. That's the thing about the Auburn fan base. Their expectations are not near as high as they want to think that they are. But man, if you mess around and you beat Clemson to begin the year, or you win a huge game to begin the year, man, you better cash in, because now Auburn fans have this post facto version of expectations. We ain't really, we're not really expect, like even in 2004. I'm gonna go back to that. 2004, coming off that season 8-4, I think, the year before, made it to the Music City Bowl. I didn't expect Auburn to be in the run for a national championship or anything of that nature. I expected another, 9-3, something like that. But man, the win against LSU in 2004, now as you could progress, the expectations start to happen. Now, this is a situation where Auburn wasn't supposed to be there for real. When you look at the totality of circumstance, you look at the totality of talent, not supposed to be there for real, but now that you're there, you better make it happen. That's the only thing about the Auburn fan base that I have an issue with. You know good and well that 2004 team coming into that season was not expected to do what they do. But then when they get there, all of a sudden, the convenient expectations start to happen. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing fundamentally wrong with that. But I think you have to channel those things and be realistic about those things when you look at the season coming in. Bryan Harsin could very well have the ball bounce his way really nicely and wiggle his way into a SEC championship. Hell, sneak into the college football playoffs. I don't think it's likely. And I'll be fair with you. I hope for Bryan Harsin's sake, I hope it doesn't happen. I want him to have a reasonable season that a first-year head coach should have. Just like Nick Saban, just like Dabo Sweeney, just like Kirby Smart. Something that you can build on. Gus Malzahn was like a one-hit wonder from back in the 70s, and you're trying to rebuild back to that one-hit wonder. And that's just not sustainable. I'm going to end it here, guys. I really love you all's commentary and your zealousness of my channel. But hey, you got to channel these expectations, man. Be careful what you ask for, because you're going to ask for Bryan Harsin to come into this first year, get you to the SEC championship game, maybe win it, maybe even sneak into the college football playoff. But then what are you going to do when he can't get back there? Kirby Smart recruits at a high level every year, made it to the college football playoffs, I think in his second year, and he ain't been back since. Matter of fact, Georgia ain't won a national championship since 1980. Hell, even Georgia Tech has won a national championship since then. Like this video, comment, and subscribe. Smash the subscribe button. Get in the comment section. What are your favorite portions about this Auburn coaching staff, this football team, where they may be headed? Some of you one traffic light town living jokers, let me know the craziest city that you ever heard of. One of mine is Slap Out, Alabama. One of mine also is Ty, Georgia, between Georgia. Notasulga, Alabama. What the hell is a Notasulga? I actually went to high school there. Lochapoka, Alabama. You know, name some of the craziest cities you've ever passed through in your travels. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. Have a great night.